Anyway, how's it going, boys? If you didn't see me on Twitter or TikTok, I'll just show you.
What are you doing on Friday?
Oh my God, you're doing one of these things. You're doing one of these things. This Friday, like this Friday coming up, like 4 or 5, like 2 days from now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, not much. I think I had maybe a shoot in the morning. That was
okay. That's fine. Cancel it. So I'll have a private jet pick you up Thursday night and fly you over here. Okay? I need you for a video.
How long would it be, Jimmy?
I just need you Friday.
Let me text you in the next hour. I just gotta dot some I's, cross some T's.
Private jet. So
Great. That's lovely. That's
okay.
That's like
just tell me what time Thursday to pick you up. Later, man.
Okay, great. See ya. Cool. Dude, I feel like a whore when he talks to me. I feel like fucking Julia Roberts in Pretty Woman.
What are you doing?
I actually got a private jet. Holy shit, dude. It was real. It was real shit. Yeah. Storytime plus crop incoming. This was it. This was the private jet that took me to North Carolina. Was it nice? Dude, okay. I have never flown in a private jet before. I am quite the competent commercial airline passenger. I make sure all my liquids are under 3 ounces and in their own individual bag. I make sure that all my laptops are pulled out. Get to the airport I try to get there maybe an hour before because they start boarding 45 minutes before. I know how things go. I usually go business. Yeah, I usually go business. But for this one, Mr. Bean called me up and he says, I'm going to get you a private jet. Clunk. I've already told my assistant. That was not a joke because I got a text from his assistant like a couple hours later and his assistant was like, hello, here is the flight confirmation. Please show up to this address. Bear in mind that the Friday that I was meant to fly out was April 1st. Which had me a little bit nervous, right? Like part of me was thinking the entire time that I would show up to the airport and it would just be a big old prank. And I don't know. It would be some MrBeast joke. I trapped 5 YouTubers in the coldest room on earth for 4 days straight. Part of me was thinking that might happen. So I get dropped off. And this is the crazy part. I get dropped off for this private jet at 8:15. The jet leaves at 8:30. What? It's a walk-on. I didn't know that that's how it worked, but that's what they told me. That's what the assistant texted me. She said, oh, yeah, it's just a walk-on. You can show up 15 minutes before. And I was thinking the entire time, I was like, I can get away with a lot of shit. So I packed things that legally speaking, the TSA would never, ever let you do. Things that you cannot get away with. Okay? Yeah. I packed a Sensodyne toothpaste canister, 8 ounces. What are they going to fucking do? Idiots. I did not pack a gummy because North Carolina laws don't really permit you to enter the state with that. And, you know, I respect interstate laws. Okay, let's... I kept it classy, but I did sneak a water bottle in. Yeah, that's right. I could have drowned the pilots. I assume that's why. I didn't go in airplane mode the entire time, by the way. I walk in, I give them numbers, like a confirmation number. It was like November Tango 54 Bravo. Whatever it is. And they're like, oh, great, it's a confirmation. You can exit and walk onto the plane. That's all they say to me. I'm like, okay. So I walk out. I see the plane painted on the side of the plane. November Tango 45 Bravo. It's my confirmation code. It's not a confirmation code. It's just the fucking plane's name. That's how it works. They just give you the plane name, and that's your confirmation code. I'm like, okay. I think I know which plane it is. It's already open. I just walk in. Really embarrassingly, by the way, I walked up and there was a private jet. So what do you do when you see a private jet? I did this. But the worst thing happened. My flash turned on. As I was recording the video, I was like, oh, fuck, now I'm cringy. Now I'm fucking cringy, dude. Now I'm one of those cringy people who's like, check it out. Yo, about to take off in the PJ. Oh, fuck. Not half a Zan in me right now. 13 hours till I land. Jizzy. So I immediately put it away. Pretend I never took the picture. This will come up later. Bear this in mind. But that's what I did. Can we see the video? Yeah. That's it. That's all. That's the entire video. It's one of the worst videos of all time ever. So I board the plane and nobody's there to greet me, but I know it's the plane because, again, the confirmation number is just the name of the fucking plane. So what I do when I get on is I see both pilots and I go, hello? And the pilot turns around scared. And they're like, oh my God, you snuck up on me. I was like, okay, that's first of all crazy because when I went into the check-in place, they literally said your passenger is boarding. So that's crazy because you got a 2-minute heads up, whatever. Here's the crazy thing about the private jet. There is also a flight attendant just for me. This is the jet and this is my space. This is and it's just me. It's just me. I thought there would be other people for sure. I thought MrBeast was getting like, 5, 6, 7, 8 people, whatever it is. It was just me. So I go in, it's 8:30. I sit right here and I buckle in, right? Because they're taxiing, they're about to take off. As I buckle in, the flight attendant comes in. She gives me a quizzical look. And she goes, would you like anything? And I don't know what I'm doing here. So I'm like, no, that's okay. I have everything because I packed my own water, but I didn't want to tell her that because I know that you're not supposed to bring water onto a plane because it's above 3 ounces. So I just said, no, I'm okay. Thank you very much. And she's like, okay. And then she goes in the back. She gets like coffee and goes back to the front. I hear, because it's a very small jet, there's not a lot of people on it, the pilots and the flight attendant laughing at me. They're like giggling. Because I'm like a schoolboy who is buckled up and I'm like this. I'm like waiting for takeoff politely because you're supposed to, I made sure my seat was fully erect and upright. I was buckled and I was like, and I had my bag. I was like Russell from Up. Yeah, I was like I was like ready to go to camp. And I could hear them chuckling because I guess they get higher clientele that fly this a lot that probably go out and they like take their balls out and they start grinding it on everything. And then while the plane's taking off, they're just doing Among Us twerks on the banisters. I don't fucking know. They don't give a shit. I guess they don't care. They're spraying water everywhere. That's them. Me, the plane takes off. It's a 4-hour flight, mind you, which is, I think, lower than a commercial airline flight from the same distance. I don't know if that's a fact, but in my mind, LAX to North Carolina takes like 5 hours commercially. I don't know what they did to skip an hour. I think they actually just glitched through Colorado. I don't know. They BLJ'd through Colorado and skipped it, but they did it fucking fast. The moment we hit the part where you hit max altitude, that's when I was like, blink, I got up and I explored the plane. Every one of these drawers had different snackies. And I was exploring everything. I was opening things up. I go into the bathroom. I stole a toothbrush. I stole a bunch of snacks, like the little pretzel circle things. It's like the cookies that are that are circles with peanut butter. Lance's cookies. Anyway, steal a bunch of snacks. Lady comes out. The flight attendant comes out. And I decide to get my Aiden on. AKA, I start making small talk. Because she was like, do you want anything? And I didn't want to ask her for something. So I was like, no, that's okay. And then I saw that they had tea and they had my favorite tea, throat goat. So I was like, oh, you guys got throat goat? She was like, yeah. So I go to make myself some tea and she stops me and she's like, no, that's what I do. So she makes me tea and we start talking. We start chit-chatting. She tells me how it's a private jet company and they fly LAX, Miami, and they go everywhere in between. And she flies like once every day. And then she tells me this. This is crazy. She says, oh, yeah. Actually, right before we flew to LA to get you, we dropped off Will Smith. I was like, what? She was like, yeah. It was Will Smith and Jada, and that's who we dropped off right before you. I'm like, no way. There's no fucking way. She's like, yeah, check it out. She turns, big old handprint on her face. I'm like, holy shit. I dap her up for the nice ball joke, and we get to talking a little bit. I clearly was like the biggest pussy they'd ever flown ever, because she was like, she wasn't even flexing. She was saying it so casually. She was like, yeah, we fly rappers all the time, like Kanye, we've had Jay-Z, Will Smith. I just flew with Robert De Niro and his family. And she was like goading me. She was like, do you want like something to drink? Do you want champagne? Do you want anything to eat? And I'm literally sitting there, and I'm not making this up, with volume 95 of One Piece, Mono Arc, a throat goat tea, and a tuna sandwich. And I'm looking her dead ass in the eyes, saying, my brother in Christ, this is all I need. And she kind of just giggles and then just walks away. And I'm like, okay, this is me. I read about half of my One Piece manga. There's a little cot, a little bed. I fall asleep for about 2 hours. Because here's the thing. This flight could not be at a worse time. This flight took off at 8:30. It's a 4-hour flight. That means it lands at 12:30, but that's Pacific time. Eastern time, this lands at 3:30 a.m. I have to wake up at 10:30 for the shoot the next day. So, okay, this is a bit of a tough thing to squeeze, but whatever, it is what it is. We land, and there I am. I've rested about 2 hours. I've read about half of my volume 95 of One Piece. I've had my throat goat tea. I've had my tuna sandwich, and I've stolen about 5 snacks and a toothbrush. Right before I leave, I again enter this seat, buckle up, go in the erect upright position, flip up the dinner table. Flight attendant comes out. She goes, oh, how are you getting to your hotel? And I go, oh, I'll just Uber. Here's the thing. I forget that I am living in Los Angeles. You can call an Uber at any time of day. I land in North Carolina at 2:30 a.m. in the whole last morning. There is not an Uber in sight. I call a Lyft and my phone, dead ass, just stops searching. So I'm like, I don't have a ride. The pilots are very gracious. They're like, oh, no worries. We'll call you a taxi. The taxi, a 1 hour wait. But I'm like, whatever. Who fucking cares? I'm on a private goddamn jet. I'll just chill on the jet. Whatever. Like, am I really going to bitch about having to wait an hour on a private jet with all the snackies in the world that's all to myself? Oh, boo-hoo. Is what I thought until the pilot came out and then did this. So we're refueling right now to go to Miami. And when we're done, we're going to kindly ask you to leave. That's how we phrase it. We're going to kindly ask you deboard the plane. And I hit him back with, okay, that's cool too. I thought in the back of my head, there's no fucking universe ever in the history of ever that if I was Kanye West or Will Smith, that he would say that to me. No universe. They're like, Will, Jada, you have to leave. Because you know what happens next. It was an oversight. It was an oversight for MrBeast's team. They just didn't think about, they thought I could Uber. So I wait in the plane for 15 minutes. They kick me off. There's like a little waiting area where the private jet company houses the planes. And I chill there for like 45 minutes, mostly scrolling through Twitter and reading a bit of One Piece. The taxi arrives at 4:30. Okay. Remember, 10:30 wake up call. Go into the taxi. And this is an old fashioned taxi that has a ticker. If you haven't driven one of these because you're a Zoomer who only does Ubers, there's basically like a little ticker that goes up. It's a little red number, and every like so often it goes up by 50 cents is what it was. And I start recognizing really quick, because I thought MrBeast had me on everything, that I only brought 2 things on this trip. In addition to my backpack full of fun things to do in my One Piece manga, I brought an ID and my phone. I didn't bring my wallet. I couldn't find it when I had to leave, so I just didn't have a wallet. I know. I'm not proud of this. I literally did not have my wallet because I couldn't find it. And I thought to myself, oh, my ID will do. Which to this point, by the way, that worked excellently. So I start asking the guy, I'm like, hey, do you guys have Apple Pay? He scoffs, no. But he doesn't make any more conversation. So I'm like, cool. I start reverting back in time. I'm reaching through my bag and I'm like pulling out things because I'm considering doing the barter system. And I pull out, I'm like, MacBook Air. No. AirPods could work. Put that in a different pouch. I'm like thinking of how I'm going to barter with the guy. And there's this mounting awkwardness that's building until we finally arrive at my destination and the total bill is about $30. And I look at the guy and I say, hello, man. Are you interested in volume 95 of One Piece manga? Oh, no. Okay. Do you have Cash App or Venmo? He gives me the biggest sigh of all time. And he's like, I got Cash App. And I'm like, thank God he said Cash App because my Venmo name is Pussy Slayer 69. I get to the hotel. By this time, it is 5:15 a.m. Again, I have to get up at 10:30. So I'm rummaging around and I go to the front desk and I'm like, okay, let's just get my ticket, get out of here. I see nobody at the front desk except for one bell, as if it's the Sweet Life of Zach and Cody. So I immediately go, ding. Nothing. Ding. Nothing. Only thing I'm getting is a stare from a guy who is sitting at the breakfast station, like waiting for first picks on the really, really thick scrambled eggs, who's just mad that I'm making dinging noises at 5:15 a.m. So I explore a little bit in the main lobby. They have one of those snack areas. Now, I can't believe this fucking happened. The snack area is full of snacks, similar to the snacks that were stored on the plane in these cabinets. But I already had my pockets stuffed with snacks. I had snackies abreast. And then finally a woman comes out and she's like, hello, sir. And I'm like, oh, could I check in? I give her my name. She asks for a credit card. And I'm like, oh, it should all be paid for by MrBeast's Incorporated. She goes, oh, we need it for accidentals. So I have to do the awkward thing where I literally give her my credit card number on my Apple Card. Yada, yada, yada. We go through the transaction. Finally, she looks at me. She's like, are you going to pay for those snacks? I was like, what? She's like, you're going to pay for the snacks. Because I had the same snacks on the plane that were in the snack kiosk. The problem is there's no way for me to have paid for these snacks because they didn't have an Apple Pay section. And so I'm sitting there and there's two roads I can walk down. One, I can either explain to her how I actually took a private jet because MrBeast asked me to fly down and I had free snacks on the plane. And the snacks actually resembled the snacks that she sold, but they were my snacks and I'm not stealing them. At 5:30 a.m. on 2 hours of sleep when I have to wake up in 5 hours. Or I have to be like, okay, no, I'm actually just going to give the snackies back. So I gave all my snackies away. I was like giving her, it was like fucking Mary Poppins. I kept pulling out more and more snacks. She just scoops it all up, plummets it back in her shop, gives me my keys, and I'm off on my way to my room. I get to my room. After I'm done brushing my teeth, settling, changing for bedclothes, getting everything sorted, it is 6 a.m. I probably close my eyes and eventually fall asleep at 6:30, and before I know it, it's 10 a.m. and I'm up. I've slept about, I would say maybe like 5 hours, probably on and off. And then this is where I make my first mistake. I'm supposed to meet them for a shoot. Now, I have never, ever done a MrBeast shoot before. It's my first mistake. The other mistakes were minor. Not bringing a credit card, I wouldn't call a mistake. I would call it a blunder. So this is Act 2. Yes. Act 1 was getting there. Act 2 is the filming. Day of filming. And I didn't realize this. You know, like MrBeast's like bounty hunter videos? He does all of this in the span of a day, which I think gives it a realness to it. But it also makes the day of the shoot a fucking nightmare. Not to say that it was not well planned, but he has like 8 to 10 huge ideas. We're going to launch the largest firework in the world, and the firework is going to blind him, and then I'm going to escape in an SUV, and then we're going to take one SUV, and we're going to drive it off a cliff, and then while it's driving off, we're going to blow it up, and I'm going to fly out, but it's not me, it's a dummy, and he's going to think it's me, and that's parachuting down, but secretly, I have entered onto a private jet, and I'm flying to Antigua. So the reason I am there is because MrBeast has all these things planned out. But if the people happen to be faster than MrBeast, I need to be at like the next location. But I am basically like backup MrBeast. So I'm like at the next spot where something is supposed to happen, introducing it, and then if MrBeast is late, I will be the one introducing it. But if he happens to make it on time, then he basically replaces me. I am basically a backup actor, which I'm also, by the way, flattered to be accepted as the role for. So we're going through it, and it's a whirlwind day. We go to one point, drive to another, drive to another, drive to another. I have never seen more of a state ever in my life. If I get GeoGuessr North Carolina comes up, it's automatic for me. And at one point, this is a quick aside. At one point during this journey, I happened to meet Nolan's parents. Nolan, if you don't know, part of MrBeast. And his parents, very sweet, very funny. His dad is way funnier than Nolan. And they stop me and they say, hey, could we get a picture? Our daughter loves you. I'm like, yeah, absolutely. So we take the picture, snap, and we go off. Later that day, Nolan comes up to me and he's like, you took a picture with my parents, didn't you? I was like, yeah. He was like, yeah, they told me. They thought you were Sap Snap. That's why they wanted a picture with you. When they showed the picture they took to their daughter laughed and said, ha, why do you never meet the cool people? She recognized me and said those words that hurt me. Sapnap, eat shit. Now, I'm not going to spoil, again, a lot of what happens in the day. We'll eventually react to this video when it comes out. But the only additional thing that I will tell you, and this is crazy, at one point, the shoots get so chaotic. So many things are happening. You have to get to the next spot, the next location, the next bit so instantly that everybody left me because I stalled taking a picture with Nolan's parents. And this is where I'm done being beta wig. Because the entire day we had been driving in like a Dodge Charger, like some rental they had. And Kyle had been driving. I'd been shotgun the entire time. And the whole entire day, he kept saying to me, I don't know where the keys are. They're somewhere in this car because it's one of those push-to-start cars. So I just fucking steal it. I'm like, don't worry about it. Just send me the address. Clink. I steal the Dodge Charger. And I'm just going by myself now. I don't even know why. I don't even know if they need me. But I'm like, fuck it, baby. Sometimes you gotta take the wheel. Sometimes you gotta take the bull by the horns. Grand Theft Auto. It's the second crime I've done that day after bringing 3+ ounces of water on the plane. And I'm driving through North Carolina, ripping through the streets. I get to the last spot. We end the day, and I can't spoil anything, but it's a fucking crazy shoot. The video will be insane. These guys recorded for, I shit you not, 11 hours. 11 hours of nonstop going from shoot to shoot to shoot to shoot. After the shoot, I was talking to like Chris and Chandler, and they were like commiserating over the day. And they said this, which blew my mind. They went, yeah, what an easy day. And I was just thinking like, fuck, what's a hard day? What's a hard day? You know what I mean? And then we enter, gentlemen, Act 3. Act 3 is that I have to make it back here to LA because I have a specific thing. I'm supposed to hang out with Cutie today. And the only real direct flight from Raleigh to LAX, like the main commercial, because I somewhat, one greedily and selfishly, but also stupidly thought, I was like, you fly private jet here, you fly private jet back. He Pretty Woman'd me, okay? But it wasn't the good ending of Pretty Woman. MrBeast, we had a great time. I thought I did a great job. But after he was done with me, it was back to commercial Carl. So I'm like, oh, okay, all right. Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. There's nothing wrong with commercial. Hey, that's all I've ever flown before. I'm not going to become a guy who's only private jet Andy. But the only direct flight that exists from Raleigh to LAX was too late. I'm not going to regale you with the tales because everyone likes to tell you about their shitty travel experience. But it was back to back to back, like 2 connecting flights. Flight started at like 5 a.m., 0 sleep. I finally arrived. It was 11 hours of travel in total. The flight there, walk on, 15 minutes, 4 hours, land, get there. Brutal. And I got no free snackies. But also a pretty sick experience. And you know what? Hey, it wasn't all for naught, because not only will I be in a MrBeast video, also got 3 million views on TikTok. Let's fucking
this Friday coming up. Like,
would you do it again if he asked? Yeah, absolutely. I would probably want a little more details, though. That's the only thing I would want, a little more details on return flight and exactly what I'm doing beforehand. Next time, I'll just bring my wallet. Yeah. How much will I actually be in the video? What if they cut me? Wait. No, I didn't get paid. Should I have been? Wait, what's going on? What are you guys talking about?